Yeah, man. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Yeah, man. We ain't loan some here. We ain't loan some here. All right, Mr. Paulwell signing on right now as I speak, right? All right, you this making some little nice here, nice here. Yeah, man. Loan some. I'm up. I'm up. Yeah. This is going to be a very interested show, you know. Very, very nice, interested show. Yeah, man. I'm signing on right now. Yeah, man. Okay. Um, Phillip Paulwell, Member of Parliament for East Kingston and Port Royal. Um, Gonna sign on right now. Let me just make sure everything up. Let me just talk to him. All right. Let me just say something now. No. Very interested show. Who not gonna love this show, yeah? Yeah, man. Up, man. But up, man. You understand? Yeah. This show. Whoa. Yes, this show. So I'm gonna sign on. So when you see man, the question is there, and we gonna have some good talk. You understand? Yeah, man. Straight down to earth thing, our thing them always 100%. I will keep it real, right? Yeah. All right. My type back to me now. So I'm gonna sign on now. Yeah, man. Coming. Him coming on right now. All right. Okay. 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 See him coming on. Coming. Yes. See. So we keep it real. 100%. Yeah. Yes, but we keep it real 100%. All right. So we're gonna talk about a range of things, And to tell you the truth, Phillip Paulwell are one of the minister because we like see policies put in place and them do some action. One of the minister we do some things where it look like they must sweep it under the carpet. So but we talk about that. Because we're gonna get to one thing to the other thing, everything we want to talk about. Ask about the JPS. You want to ask about that too? All right. But I'm going to ask about some other things, right? Might have shock you. I'm going to ask about a lot of things. Say, so come on. No. You sign on. As him sign on, you're not going to see him. Yeah? So instead of talk to him on the phone, he must sign on. So we're going to talk to him, right? So you remember he was there. He was Phillip Paulwell do a lot of things, A lot of things set speed. So I'm gonna ask him about everything I want to ask him about. Yeah? Yeah, man. Yes, yes, everything up. All right, see my car, my back. Yes, Mr. Paulwell. Or if you use like a YouTube and then you use your email address and put it, your email sign in. If you have a YouTube account or something or a Facebook account, you use it, sign in. Yes. It you sign in. Yes, man. Oh, yes, man, cool. Yes. Yeah, man. So my sign in, but it always asks you like a password. So him just asks me. So I just tell him, just follow that and sign in. So when I can't see him instead of when I hear him, right? When I feel better that way, don't it? Yeah, man. Yes, man. Yes, man. All right. So as him come in, this at seat, real attack, right? All right. Good. Yes, man. So I'm signing in right now, and let's go. Get the thing rolling. So yeah, man. So Peter Phillip Paulwell was leader of government business in the House of Representatives from 2011 till 2016. Yes. And is the leader of opposition business from 2016 to present. Yeah? Yes, man. You understand? So I'm just signing in now. So when we sign in, we're up. Yes. Yeah, man. It's a question I go hard already. A lot of questions start moving hard. Yeah, man. So we're going to some shackers and everything. Yes. A lot of questions. Some people have dropped some questions all over the place. Yeah, man. Hard questions. Yeah, man. Yeah, man, we're gonna do that, man. Everything, and when you can drop some question, but we're gonna have a nice chat, right? We're gonna have a nice chat. And we're gonna talk about a lot of things, a lot of things, about present government, about what one in the PMP party. Eyes on the file, you're up. Everybody are wait. Why people are open hard. Yeah, man. Yeah, man, big thing. Yeah, man. Yeah, man. Yes, man. Yes. JPS. All right. So we're gonna talk about that. We're gonna talk about a lot of things. We're gonna talk about a lot of things. So only hear from him. Yeah. Yes, man. Yes. Yeah, man. Oh, to break the energy monopoly. Okay. Whoa. Question them start rolling already. People them now wait. Yes. Yeah, man. Bless up Ingrid. Yes, man. Yes. So as I say now, Phillip Paulwell was minister of was was mhm, leader of government business in the House of Representatives from 2011 to 2016, and is the leader of the opposition business from 2016 to present right now. Right, so we know we have a lot of things to talk about. Let me see if him soon come in by this. Let me just ask him. Let me just ask him. Hold on. Yeah, man. So a lot of people online, a lot. Um, yeah, man. So I call him. I see him up. I call him because in the bright on my phone right now. I just tell him a lot of person up already. So I wait for see him come in. Yeah, man. Yeah, man. Television, I see. People not easy. Yes, man. I could go and talk to him if him now. I call him and hear what he say right now. Hold on. Yeah, yes, Mr. Paulwell.
Yes, probably I'm trying to get on, but it is rejected all of my password.
All right.
Let me continue. We can start talking while I continue to try.
Yes, man. All right. Good. Because a lot of people are here. Good evening again to you.
Good evening to you, and good evening to your audience.
Yes.
I'm sorry that the technology has failed me so far, but I'm having difficulty logging into my YouTube account, which is quite strange.
Oh, yes, man.
And I'm even trying my Facebook account, and it is telling me that there's a problem, and it ought not to be. But
yes,
here we are, and I'm happy to be on your program. I think this is my second time.
Yes, man. Your second time. Yeah. So people, we're talking to Member of Parliament for East Kingston and Port Royal. Phillip Paulwell. He was the leader of government business, right? 2011 to 2016. And now the leader of opposition business from 2016 till present, right?
Well, no. Since there was a change in the leadership of our party, I'm no longer leader of opposition business. That is Mr. Tony Hilton.
Oh, when that changed? When it changed?
When the new leader took over last year.
Oh, last year. It changed last year. Wow.
Yeah.
We want to talk about that. But we have a lot of things to talk about. But the first thing we want to talk about, the country, the direction of the country, and the ministry and how we grade them. So we start from the security because that really about a lot of people right now. Yeah? Yes. What's your take on that?
I can tell you, I am very, very concerned about the state of affairs. The primary problem we have now, well, it's twofold. We have crime and we have COVID. I'm so happy that this Omicron virus is the variant is not as severe as others. But going back to the issue of crime and violence, you'll recall when we lost the elections last year, sorry, in 2020.
Yes, yes.
I spoke on behalf of the party that night to indicate our full support, well, apart from congratulating the government, our full support in working with the government, with the administration, to deal with the tremendous problems that we face.
Yes.
Which include the COVID problem and, of course, crime and violence. It was quite sincere, because I can just imagine this cabinet when they meet, having had to deal with COVID for 2 years. I believe, Wayne, that there are so many problems that we face. If we could, as a country, unite to grapple and to deal with them, we wouldn't be in the mess that we have been for so long, you know. And this year, as an independence baby, I certainly have taken stock. I think the country has to take stock to recognize that Jamaica, as great as we are, and the name Jamaica is known throughout the world, not because of our tremendous wealth, which we should have, but because of our people and how they have been able to perform across the globe. But we should be a world power in terms of wealth, in terms of the opportunities that we create for our people. But we haven't been able to get it right, and a lot of it has to do with our politics. So I'm happy to be on the program, and I'm happy to share with you my own views. I have been in the system for a little while.
Yes.
But I still feel young and energetic.
Yes, man. Yes, yes. Yes. All right. So what you would tell me about like health? What's your take on health? Because before this administration in, right? I play some clippings earlier on today. Just remind the prime minister or the government, right? When the prime minister when they was in opposition, they point out all these things, like the broken health system and bed and everything that's wrong. But you know, for 6 years now, we don't see them do nothing. The thing get even worse. What your take on these things?
Yes, again, it reflects the lack of the country coming together. When PNP is in power, JLP fights against the government, and to a large extent because of our competitive nature. We see that throughout. And again, health has been one of those areas where we have not invested enough in the health facilities. We do reasonably well on the primary side, but on the other side, such as those areas where we have had lifestyle issues like diabetes, hypertension, and so on. We have not been able to do that. We don't care enough for persons who need dialysis treatment. And a lot of our hospitals are run down, and they don't have the facilities there. And all of this has been shown up now by COVID. COVID has really revealed to us that our healthcare system has not received the level of investments that it ought to. And probably that's the reason why we're having this type of experience. We're going through now the fourth wave. The hospitals today, I gather, are almost at capacity. And, you know, God really will have to help us to survive this, and that this fourth wave be short-lived.
Wow. So we said a healthy nation is a wealthy nation, you know. And I mean, a lot of people can't get no proper health care. Them don't get no treatment. What do you think the government's supposed to do for, you know, correct some of these things? Because people at hospital right now, you know, if them for do an x-ray, them have to go outside. The biggest hospital in Jamaica, like KPH. If you do a CT scan, you have to find the money and pay, you go to private. This cannot work. It cannot be. You know, what's your take on these things?
Well, as it has been, that there needs to be more investment, and that we really ought to enable the government to do so as an opposition. We should be working with. Oh, are you seeing me now, by the way? I think I'm appearing in the studio.
No, I don't see you as yet. I don't see you as yet. You can see me?
Oh, no, but I'm told that I am.
Yeah, yes. I see you now. Yes, man. Okay, good. Lovely. Okay, good. Can you hear me now?
All right. So,
yes.
Yes, just that your volume is a little low. Let me turn up mine and see if it gets better.
We're hearing you good though.
Yeah. Oh, you're hearing me?
Of course.
All right.
Yes.
Good. Well, I'm happy that the technology has finally worked.
Yes.
I used to be the minister, you know. So
I know.
And I hope tonight we can talk a little bit about technology because
no, we're going to do that. I'm going to do that because there are surprised a lot of people. So I'm going to do that. Believe me.
Very good.
Yes, man.
Yeah, man. So again, it's great to be on. What I'm saying is that there are so many areas of our life: education, healthcare, and national security. Those three, we really ought to put the politics behind us when we come to deal with them. We can compete in other areas. We can go and seek votes in other areas. But when it comes down to those three, we should be united. And there's no reason why a government and an opposition can't sit down and say, listen, in this budget, we need $20 billion to fix healthcare. And we'll put off some of the spending for some other areas until next year. We need these things to happen so that our people can have better health service. It has not happened that way, my brother. And as I mentioned before, so too we are in the areas of national security and education. I think we have to take stock. I think we have to, as a country, decide that things can't go on like this. And for both political parties, we have to acknowledge that 60% of the people of this country don't even look at us. They don't even bother to put on clothes to go and vote for us. And so something is wrong. And yes, I have been a part of the system. As I will try to share with you later, I have tried my best in those areas that I have been responsible for. And when I say my best, I at all times know that I'm here to protect the interests of the people, especially those who are poor. And whatever I do in my ministry when I was minister, or even now, it is to advance the cause of those in our society who need help from government.
Yes. All right. Since as you talk about that, I just going to remind the people them something, right? Because in 1999 and 90 to 2000, the telecommunication market, you take it and you turn it upside down and you change the system completely because you're going to license that change the way, and the broadband system. You implement a lot of good things for Jamaica. That changed the way these things run in Jamaica. You can give me a little more about that?
No, I'd be quite happy to do that because I remember when I got my first telephone service at home, I was even with my parents.
Yes.
And we had applied and we were on a waiting list for like 12, 14 years. So when the phone finally came into the house, I was so overjoyed, I want to make a call. And when I pick it up, I hear somebody else on the phone. And I said, but wait, this is a party line. So you alone can't get a phone. You have to share this one. And I said to myself, my goodness. And then when I ran in 1997 as for Member of Parliament for East Kingston and Port Royal, you're not going to believe this, but when I did my survey, the number one issue in my constituency in 1997 wasn't about unemployment and bad roads. People said, I want phone. Them say, if you get us phone, because them used to go to a call box.
Right
and when
side of the
reach
station.
The call box,
right
all 50 people.
Yes,
and them knock on the door and say, listen, me want to make a call now.
Yes, that's
remember those days when you have ICAS and you used to make a call overseas and it's like about 40 numbers you have to dial.
Yeah, man.
So I set about addressing that problem as Minister for Telecommunications because we had a license. And I'm not going to cast blame on anybody, but it's the JLP government gave Cable and Wireless a 50-year license. which says that you are the sole supplier of telecommunications in Jamaica for 50 years. You know when that 50 years would end? 2038.
Whoa.
So we are in 2022 now, you know.
Yeah.
So we will still have about 16 more years to go with one provider. And when I asked the company, so tell me now, you are introducing cellular service. What is your projection for 10 years down the road? And them said to me, well, we now have about 10,000. We should get to 90,000. This is 10 years down the road, you know.
Yes.
And then it was at that time that we were seeing developments in wireless telephony. We're seeing developments in computing technology, because there was a time when for you to have a computer, it would be housed in a massive space.
Yes.
You have heard about the mainframes,
Yes.
right? And a mainframe computer that would not give you a fifth of the capacity of this phone.
Yes.
Would take up a large building.
Yes.
But the technology was emerging so that the size was shrinking. And by 1997, 99, we were having the personal computer.
Yes.
Of course, things have changed, so till we have laptops and tablets. But those things were happening, and Jamaica was being left behind because we only have one player. And them don't know, their view is that we will take our time and to catch up. Jamaica had the lowest teledensity in the entire Caribbean. That
Yes.
is the number of persons who had access to phone per
Yes.
population. So we had to change it. And that was my first major battle. I had one before that about motor vehicles, but we can
I
come
know
back to
about
that
the
later.
motor vehicle. I would ask about that too.
A major battle.
Yeah, I'm going
Because
to talk
in
about it.
those
Yes.
days, and I'm not trying to be invidious, but cable and wireless still is, but in those days was a very mighty company. I mean, its chairman had a name, the Matalan name. And I decided that things couldn't remain like that. We had to find a way to get out of this monopoly arrangement. Thank God
Yes.
I'm a lawyer. But
Yes.
more importantly, I understood where the technology was going. So we had some fights, we had some brawls, but those are the fights I prefer to choose. If you notice me in Parliament, you're not going to see me fighting against labor rights in Parliament, and that for me is
Yeah,
beneath
I
me.
noticed. Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
and even in my party, you're not going to see me having brawls with people. But when it come on to things that will benefit the majority of our
Yes.
people, so me and them went to war, and thank God we won. The country won, and we were able to open up the field to
Yes.
competition. And
Yes.
the people here, the youngsters nowadays, them hear about Digicel. And them still believe that Digicel is an Irish company. Digicel is a Jamaican multinational company.
Oh.
Digicel received a license that I granted. They pay 40 odd million US for it, billions of dollars.
Yes.
They establish here, and they use Jamaica to go all over the Caribbean. Jamaica led the way in opening up telecommunications because all of the Caribbean countries had the cable and wireless monopoly. But
Yes. Yes.
they looked at what we did. They patterned their entire negotiations off us. And today we have Jamaica leading the way in terms of teledensity. So instead of 90,000 new lines that cable and wireless was predicting, we've gone over 3 million now. And you know, some people are about two or so of them. But that's what competition brings.
Yes.
And that is just at the basic level. When I was predicting to people that in time to come, this thing that you used to pay so much money for, the voice service.
Yes.
In time to come, it's going to be a free
Broadband.
service.
Yes.
And WhatsApp calls are free.
Yes.
But nobody could understand it then. And those who benefit from it now, they can't appreciate where we're coming from. But that's just a tip of it. And certainly if you want me to go on to talk about
no, you can
universal
talk.
service.
We can want the people them know because enough of them don't know these things.
Yes.
And we have hundreds of people online listening here right now. Hundreds.
Yes. Well, especially for the youngsters.
Yes.
They need to understand that this was a struggle. People used to say I was David going up against Goliath. And that was it. Because you don't take on a major company like that without creating for your own self enemies. You don't do some of the things that I have worked on without creating enemies. And we're going to get down to some of the so-called scandals.
Yeah, we're going to do that too.
Yes.
Yes.
But in relation to telecoms, the aim was to do two things. First of all, to ensure that Jamaicans were on the same par as the Japanese, the Americans,
yes,
in terms of technology. So we wanted to ensure that they have access to the device, but also to broadband technology. And that's why we created the Universal Service Fund, which has been badly managed by this government. But the fund was
Universal,
created.
that's the next fund I want to talk to you about. But you're talking already.
Yes. The fund was created by us imposing a tax on foreigners, people who call into Jamaica, because I didn't want to tax our people. And by the time I left office in 2016, we had amassed about $14 billion. What was that to do? It was to ensure that all our high schools were fully equipped with not only the equipment, your computers, but free broadband access. It's to enable all our children to have access to tablets. And we had started that program. It was to enable that every public space in Jamaica, once you hit the road, you would have free Wi-Fi. That was the aim behind the Universal Service Fund. And we're coming back to that. But we also wanted to create jobs. When I came into office, there was a place called Digiport, and they were involved with data entry jobs. You just keep putting data and people get money for that. I saw the opportunities for call centers and for business process outsourcing, BPO.
Yes.
And I decided that we have to make sure the rates for telecommunications were lowered. At the same time, we were training our people to take advantage of the BPO sector. When I became minister, that major trunk line to bring in telecom service to a data entry business cost 40,000 US per month. That same capacity line will run you about $300 per month. Now, because of, and it has been so for the last 15, 20 years because of what we did with telecommunications. So Jamaica's call center BPO business was born and developed. When I projected that we were going to create 40,000 jobs, people laugh. We are at about 50,000 jobs now. But I should have projected 100,000 because we can create those jobs if we are focused and we're prepared to take the risk to do so. Yeah. So those are some of the benefits of telecommunications liberalization. We brought in billions and billions of dollars. When you look at this economy and how revenues are generated, what we did with telecommunications created such large revenue streams for the government because they collect taxes on every single call, all the transactions that are done, and with the enlargement of the access, billions and billions of dollars in revenues came in, and not to mention what the companies have spent on advertising. People in the media would have benefited tremendously from the opening of the telecommunication sector. So it's one of my proud achievements. Well, it's not the only one. So
not
you go on. It's your show.
We want to tell the people, they want to talk about the car because one time the car, carrying a car, it was very expensive and most people couldn't carry in a car. Give me the one about the car. The rundown.
And again,
yes,
because you're doing things to benefit your people, you're going to create enemies. Because there was a body, and some of them were my friends, called the Automobile Dealers Association.
Yes.
They imported new motor vehicles. And there were some things that happened that were downright unconscionable. Because a man will bring in a new car today, and the price of that new car in 3 weeks would triple. There was a second sale market, a third sale market. Poor people could not afford motor vehicles. So it was just a few people who could afford it, and the people who were engaged in the business became super wealthy. I don't have a problem with a man making money. I don't have a problem with the private sector. But when it comes at the detriment of the ordinary people, when it is rapacious, then it is wrong. So we introduce a used car system where we pretty much flood the country with cheaper vehicles. We established dealership. So in the first year, I gave out about 100 licenses for used car dealers.
Oh.
And we for the first time saw the price of motor vehicles coming down in Jamaica. In 1995, teachers and policemen and those people, they couldn't afford to drive. Students are now driving. And again, the revenues generated by having 800,000 vehicles. They have to buy gas, they have to license, the government coffers were swollen. But it had to take courage, it required a fight, and you create enemies that way. You
Yes.
create enemies that way. You can't be corrupt because people expose you. But you can't be corrupt when you are looking out for the best interests of your people, because people try to bribe you, but
Okay.
you can't allow yourself to be bribed once you are seeking about the best interests of your people. So that used car policy
Yes.
has ensured that any Jamaican
Mm-hmm.
who has the ambition and the will to own a motor vehicle can do so. That was not the case, my brother, in
Yes.
1995. You couldn't unless you probably had some wealthy friends overseas. In fact, if you had gotten a vehicle from overseas, you would have to lodge in the Bank of Jamaica the equivalent foreign exchange for that vehicle. And you had to pay 200% duties for that.
200%. It was 200%.
Yes.
Because people still say it's still high now, you know.
It's still
But
high, it's still high.
200, it's still high because
But
around 80%, right?
yes, but those days 200%.
200 and something percent.
Yes. We brought it down, and we introduced a used car policy, and ordinary Jamaicans can drive at their leisure.
Right. Somebody asked me to ask you, why them have to be like 5 years to carry in, like used car, 5 years.
Well, when I started the policy, we did up to 10 years. It was 10
Oh,
years.
yes,
Remember, there was a pent up demand, and we had to satisfy that.
yes.
I brought it down to 7 years because you didn't want for Jamaica to be a dumping ground for old vehicles. And by that time, we had seen that some of the dealers weren't bringing in the requisite amount of parts to service the vehicles.
Oh,
But that's how you manage an economy. And after a while, we took it to 5 years because we felt that we could achieve the price points that we wanted, but you will get in good quality vehicles. For the person who's asking, it was a gradual approach, satisfying the pent up demand for 30 years, but then recognizing that we would not allow Jamaica, because by that time, people had started to import very substandard vehicles. So it is now 5 years, but we have achieved the objective, which is to crush that new car dealer bandula system, and put in place a system to allow for price to be reduced, for motor vehicles to depreciate, and for the ordinary Jamaicans to have
all a
access.
vehicle. That wow, good. That's our next good achievement. Because back in the days, I just that mean only the big man who have some money could have really carry in a car.
That's
Because a brand
correct.
new car you have to carry in, and over 200% you have to pay and duties and thing. Whoa.
Again, the young people who born since that time, they would not understand. But it was a struggle, but it was worth the fight because Jamaicans now can have access to their own motor vehicles.
All right. So Mama Angie asking why in the Eastern Caribbean they can them allow to carry in one car duty free. Why that never happened in Jamaica?
Well, there was a time when if you were a returning resident, the way was cleared for you to get concessions and for you to bring in your motor vehicles almost at that level. The problem is, my brother, that and I was at the trade board, so almost everybody came in applying as a returning resident.
Yes.
Even persons who just go to the US for a little time. It created a bandula system, and I believe to kill corruption, you need to make the system simple, you need to make it reasonable, and the government needed revenues. Remember, for you to bring in a vehicle, for you to purchase these vehicles, it's foreign exchange that you use. And there must be a way to replenish that foreign exchange, or certain to protect the economy. And the motor vehicle has been a good source of revenues for the government. So I don't think the country can afford for persons to bring in vehicles without having to pay taxes on them. It's just a stark reality of where we are. When we become a wealthy country, as I believe we can, then it's a different matter. But the revenues have to be protected, and that's one of the ways to do so.
But to come a wealthy country, we have to have some real good governance. Not like what we said the other day with, come on, I want to ask you some question now, because we see some things in the education ministry and some money and some other things and missing and these things. At times, this Jamaica people tired of these kind of foolishness,
Yeah.
More your thoughts on that, because this, and then the court, this thing takes so long. So Jamaican looking at politicians and say, okay, so not care what happened. They're not going to prison. Nobody going to prison. For them case longer than anything else. If a man buck him to now, you go in front of court and you get a date by tomorrow and you end up at jail if you end up at jail. But when I touch politician, them can't go jail. Come on, them have to do something. What's your take on that?
All right. It's twofold. First of all, in our history, we have had a long list of scandals.
Yes.
And it is always important to get the facts of each one, and where people are engaged in wrongdoing, they must be punished. They must be sent to prison. And the truth is, a number of politicians have been sent to prison, but not in recent time. We've had politicians.
The last one was Jack Smith.
Right. And so on.
So, yes.
And I think it is reasonable for the country to expect that the system will ensure that persons who are dabbling in the people's money and who do wrong must be put behind bars, must be put to prison. I want to deal with the CMU issue.
Yes.
But I want to juxtapose that with a so-called scandal that affected me.
Okay. NetServe?
Yes. So let me deal with NetServe, and I'll try to show you the difference and why I believe that the people deserve justice and that things should be expedited.
Yes.
What happened with NetServe? Remember I told you about the 40,000 jobs?
Yes.
We had collected about $10 billion from the cellular license. And I said to my Prime Minister at the time, PJ, we have to find a way now to see how we can get jobs created. So one of the things he said to me, the owner of America Online, you guys wouldn't remember that now, but that was one of the forerunners in internet service and call center business, America Online. He had a house in Jamaica. Love Jamaica, but he live foreign. So PJ said to me, why don't you take a plane, go and visit him, and see if he could bring some of the jobs that he had in the Philippines. The man had about 5,000 call center jobs in the Philippines. And so I said, yes, that's a good idea. So I took myself, go to foreign. I think I met with him in New York. And I said, boy, my Prime Minister, send me to you. I know you love Jamaica. You love to come to Jamaica. We have a problem of unemployment. I hear that you have 5,000 seats in the Philippines. I need some. And I tell him why. I said, Jamaicans are adaptable. They'll come and work in the call centers. They speak English. In fact, they speak better English than the Americans. Plus, they'll give you any accent you want, and so on and so forth. So I said, yes, I will come to Jamaica. I will pull up 2,000 seats from the Philippines and come. when can I come? And my mouth drop because I never have the space, I never have the seats, I never have the capacity. So even though we had lowered the price of telecommunications and we have a pile up of people, there wasn't a place where a man could come and plug and play. And so we decided that we have to fix that. So we decided to assist the private sector to come to Jamaica to create space, to create jobs. And we established this thing called the Intech Fund, where we loan money, that same money that we raise, we loan it to businesses to establish call center facilities in Jamaica.
Okay.
There's this call center company called NetServe. I mean, it is weird enough, but the people who introduced NetServe to me were some JLP people. In fact, the JLP had a cocktail party for them when they came to Jamaica. The gentleman came and said, listen, I can create 10,000 jobs if you lend us the money. I would say, okay, we'll lend you the money to buy all the things that you need to establish a center. You need furniture, you need desks and chairs, you need partitioning, you need computers. So we loan the company the money for the computers, for the desk and chairs. Because at the back of my mind, is what that man tell me, say, boy, if you have space for 2,000, them can come tomorrow. So we lend them the money. The contract that they had to provide all of these jobs, it failed. They weren't able to get their contracting parties to honor the agreement.
Okay.
And you're talking about pioneering industry. So they failed. And they walked away. And I'm cutting to the chase. They walked away. But what happened? The $200 million worth of computers, of chairs, the equipment that you need for a call center. Transparency International came to Jamaica to investigate the matter, and they said they found the $200 million here. So there was no pop-off. People talk about Paulwell had bank account overseas with money. It was nonsense.
So two things.
And today, just for the point, today those chairs and desk and computers, well, the computers would have become obsolete by now.
Yes, yes.
They are filled. I just mentioned that we now have close to 50,000 employees. Big companies have come in, but the space was utilized. So, and that's what you have when you are pioneering. You take some risk, but you set a foundation. So the space was there. The man then walk away, left the business, but the $200 million worth of equipment, of computers were there. And today we can salute Jamaica for creating 50,000 jobs.
I heard that
that
company come down and come investigate. I heard that them said no, not everything was there for you. Yes, I heard that. Yes,
but it went. Remember, it was one of the biggest scandals.
But you see, sometimes I don't follow because I'm a man where I'm a critical thinker. So I do my own investigation and add up and subtract up my things. So I know what is a scandal and what a crap.
Yes.
So
But you see, I mentioned earlier, because of the enemies that I have created over the years, some people had vested interests to push the fire. Some people had vested interest to pay a man to push the story. I'll tell you something. About 2 years ago, a journalist came to me and said, Paul, well, I have to confess. You were going at some people because you claimed that they weren't honoring some terms. And you are going to deal with them by revoking certain things. And the people called me and said, listen, this man here is antagonizing me. I want you to do a number on him to distract him. And they were prepared to pay the man big money to distract me from taking care of the people's business. That's how the country runs sometimes. So that's a lesson for journalists, for people who sometimes hear the word scandal.
That's why I talking about Main Street media in a politician pocket and some big man interests. because them get them pay and thing. That's why we say we want to clean up our place and
Yes.
we deal with it straight. Them can't go in on my head. You understand? Me make sure do my homework. Okay.
No. The thing with NCU, the thing with Petrojam, the thing with Universal Service Fund, those are different things.
Yes.
People. The investigations reveal that there was cronyism, where a man bringing his friend to get a food. That there were hanky-panky things where a man get a money for things that they didn't do. That's a different thing, and that's criminal. That is criminal. And yes, it is true that sometimes if you have money, you can use the system, the current court system, to delay and to delay and to delay. And it is wrong, and there has to be a way forward. And I believe that there should
be a consequence about it. Two things more I ask you though.
Yes.
You know, and the party want to know something for change about a powerful office like the DPP. I think the DPP, supposed to come front of the legislation. Our people vote for these kind of people because Jamaica is a small country. And we don't want to politicize these kind of people. You understand that them don't send whether politician, whether some big man or some big police, them have the power enough for them and like, them is almighty. We need that for stop. And next thing what we need for stop again, when we want your answer. This picking a commissioner by prime ministers. That thing that it's not right. You understand? It need to stop. We need to see a resume, even put them on a ballot box every 4 years, like in some state, some sheriff and thing. People vote you in. We want to see why you come at the table with. Well, that means you know no favor with nobody. Them can't fire you. Them can't move you. The people of Jamaica can move you. What to say about it?
My brother, I am the Gleaner company has asked me to, as I'm an independence baby and I haven't been in the system, to share some thoughts with their readers about how I see things. And I don't know if you're reading my notes behind my back, but I believe if we're going to be able to get national consensus on crime and violence, on social order, good government, there are certain things that we need to take out of the hands of politicians.
Thank you, sir.
And I fervently believe that. I agree with you. The office of the DPP should not be a political appointed.
None at all. Not one. Not a bit. You understand?
The office of Commissioner of Police. If you're going to get overwhelming support from your population, from both parties, it can't
put them on the ballot. We can vote for them every 4 years. So when them not working, we can move them. We have to see.
There's that way to do it, and it is done in the US.
Yes.
You can do it by way of an independent commission that is
don't trust them neither, because sometimes for them own benefit, we don't know who them lean to. But when you have the population, so make a vote for them. Put them on a ballot box. Every 4 or 5 years, we're going to vote for, like we're going to vote for a sheriff or something. So you don't tie up to nobody. You fund the police, but them not tie up to nobody. You understand? It's supposed to be a professional organization. It's not professional how it's running right now.
I agree with you in principle, my brother, that we have to find a way where these offices are filled not through political appointments. And the truth is, the Prime Minister can influence every single one of these important functions. And it ought to change. So I'm with you there. I'm with you.
It need to stop.
Yes.
And next thing now, job creation and because you see, you can't fight crime. I mean, hear the Prime Minister come and say, they must spend over the next much years 176 billion with a B. Me not talk about healthcare, because you have a lot of people who have the dialysis machine. Them can't even get dialysis. Them can't even get that free. You understand? Them don't set up a health plan system for help out these people. But you can spend that on the cost, because if I the gun and more bullet and more thing and people get injured, you use rifle in some zinc up place and some board up house, and it carries some dangerous injury, if not death. And you still have to go to hospital, go deal with that, but we don't have a hospital already. We don't have no service. We just have some building, but nothing in the building works. We have to change that too. What do you say about that?
Yeah. I believe that crime and violence, national security, is our number one problem. My view, if Jamaica could cut murder rate by half, this place will become a paradise.
So what you say about apprenticeship and like 40,000 kids that leave school every year, not doing nothing. You go through, even people from universities, when them finish, whether them turn lawyer, what you don't have no work. We have to put them to work. What you say about these things?
All
And
right.
the infrastructure I want to fix too, you know.
Yes. You know, I listened to Damien on your program.
Yes.
Yes, you sent me that clip.
Yes.
And probably in the PNP, Damien and I are the closest in terms of how we see things. I'm a democratic socialist.
Yes.
So I believe in investing in human resources.
Good.
To fight crime and to get social order. You have to do it in twofold. There's a long-term thing because we do have critical social problems, poverty, improper infrastructure that need to be addressed. And it's going to cost you billions of dollars, but you should invest it. I think for the short term, though, the problem we face why youngsters will take up a gun and shoot and kill is because that youngster believes that he's not going to get caught, you know. And that you need to deal with. I don't believe in a death penalty. But I mean, if a man do something wrong, he must go to prison. Yes. Hopefully, over time, him can change him ways, but he must be put up behind bars. He has no business in society. We need to invest in that aspect of it. Listen, when I go to England, and I am using Europe as the model, because in America, the gun culture there is too strong. Everybody wants a gun, and you feel bad. In England, people don't have guns, you know.
Yes.
In some of those Scandinavian countries, the socialist countries, the society is disarmed.
Yes.
You have law and order. Now in Jamaica, I can't disarm the man with a legal firearm as yet, until you make sure that those who have guns are disarmed. And there is technology. You know, you have technology where if a
bullet, you fire the shot, you know, spot shutter. Yeah, you have the technology when you put it there, you fire a shot. It can tell you where it fire from and everything.
Precisely where. But more importantly, and it's not that I'm advocating for a police state.
Yes.
In England the other day, some man go on a bridge and bomb the place.
Yes.
And less than 30 hours, they could tell you the identity of every man.
Because the camera
the car them drive.
Every boss in England used in England, live in England. So every boss, every corner, everything is just camera straight.
And it's money investment. Yes. I believe that we could create a network of that technology.
Of course.
Because that you can use that in court as evidence.
Of course, they catch them with ease. They catch them with ease. I talk some long old time camera, I talk good camera, so them can see your face, they make out, them know the car you drive, and them just have them trail up on the road, they just trail go down. You go on this road, them go to all these cameras, that them watch you, where you go and everything. Them see you. So when
rude boy don't want to go jail.
Yes.
Once you make certainty, if you go out there, go kill. When catch you, you're going to go jail. You'll be amazed at the fall in crime. But the other problem is the guns, the weapons that is available. I mean, I can talk about East Kingston. When I hear about the amount of bullets that people are trading at each other.
Yes.
Sometimes my people call me and say, listen, MP. And you just hear the shots of my fire off. But the police come in the place, they search, and then they find the guns. I think we might have to approach it differently.
We have to approach it differently.
Listen, there are some dogs here. Train the dogs them.
Yes.
They sniff out anything.
Yeah, metal detectors too.
And a lot of these guns,
a lot of things you can use.
A lot of these guns, they're not buried deep. Because as wars start, the man and rush for them. Get more dogs in the system. The policeman who will go out with the dog, put a camera upon him so he can watch what is happening.
Yes.
But you also have to talk to our American friends because the weapons that come from up there.
You're right.
And yes, them have them Second Amendment right. But we don't want that. We don't want every Jamaican to at the first thing you pick up a gun to kill each other. We need
And
to
the
step that
reprisal
flow.
killing getting terrible. And then
Terrible.
what happened again? That's why we say we need a clean police force. Because remember, you don't say you go England, right? But look on it. You say if up top clean, people go there, them just fall in line. So when you go England, you want to do your work for 2 and 3 job and thing. The one them will fall through the crack and want work on, them going to get old because camera pick them up. So they might get old little later or something. Can you imagine you live in England? Nobody no see your work. But in the night, you go out with big chain. And one bag of friend with beam and bends and everything. Police know that already. Camera pick you up. So it doesn't matter at time, them watch you. That's why good to have the camera and everything. The next door neighbor, people where you live side that just pick up that. You understand? And them watch it. Them are going to report it. Or them get money for buy these things. You understand? You're going to get report, you're going to get catch. Just to point much of them. But come from Jamaica who get deep, who might go out prison and all kind of thing. Them are going to catch you. You understand? The police like now walk with gun.
Yes, absolutely. So we have to deal with that. But it requires the country coming together and say, boy, enough is enough, man. Man supposed to be able to sleep with them doors open.
Yes.
Right.
But not in this state like what the Prime Minister saying. Him are gonna make them sleep with them door open because he might get rid of the PMP. When him get rid of the PMP, he might sleep with them door open.
The Prime Minister really should apologize for that statement because
you understand?
The politics that
because a man in Montego Bay sleep with him window open and get gunshot.
Yeah.
So you say you are gonna do it and you're gonna make if them 14 back the PMP, this is what happen to no. You know, them kind of little thing, the command, you have to hold them by account. If a man come tell me these things and him so great, and then come and tell me you cannot sleep, we're going to hold it to account. I don't business. We're going to hold it to account.
And if you need to change the minister, change the minister. If you need to change the commissioner of police, do that. But I agree with you that commissioners of police and officers like DPP, they should be totally independent.
Yeah, it cannot be politicized.
You use the concept of people balloting for them.
You know what I want? I want to see also, and listen out good. I want to see police, for you have the powers of arrest. You can go and even for the commissioner himself go to a red light, you stop because you know you are in the position you're supposed to know better. You set example. So me as a constable, see you go through the red light, I'm stop you at the commission, me have finger handcuff on you, same like in the state or anywhere else. So you are gonna lose a job. So you won't do that. And then you're gonna hold the man accountable.
Or get the cameras to pick that up.
Yes, so him gonna get charged. I'm not talking about in a Jamaica. You cannot charge when you're just a constable. You see a man in a car, you can't talk to him because him a God Almighty in him head. And they move you up and these things just stop. The people in the house, them have to put in something, this kind of thing to stop. That is not policing. That is gang. That is like the police force around like a gang. Yeah, we name force, it's supposed to name department by this. Work with the people because you're there to serve the people. I don't know if you see the video down in Central Kingston where police go to a guy, he must say the man must be sick. And the police say, hey, we just want to see you with a gun. You don't see a man with a gun. He have a camera in a man for Christ's sake. I shoot, me kill in front of the camera. And when one of them talk, them use a dirty slur and him for go do with the mother. Police in a police was doing that. So if me there this side and up there fight, me that thing same up on the other side. That is not a police. Him supposed to get that's a threat, you know. That is a threat. And if you don't clean the police force, so you get a better Jamaica. Remember, if the up top dirty, you can't get done, you're so clean, you know, man.
So the police force has to be another focus in this fight.
Of course.
Society that is abided by law. I'm with you. I'm with you there.
Yeah, because if you don't clean your where you're gonna reach. Because police, what them call crime fighter, a lot of them, some of them retire now. Them involved in from remember in I talk to a lot of people. And if sometimes I don't even bother think the name go around and them are approve and them power with one where you hear the amount of police and corruption, it's unbelievable. Go look on the house where them own and some of them own some things, it's unbelievable. Them pay cannot give them. So it's easy to prove. Easily.
Yes.
And what them do them in the force and drop each other. to cover them back. You can't have a force around it like gang. Then you get about Jamaica, we're heading to 80.
Well, you know, I did something the other day, and,
Yes.
and probably it should be law. The other day, I decided that I was going to put out to the public all of my income expenditure for my entered politics in 1995 to current, and it's anybody can go and look at it.
Yes.
That and they can look at it and say, but wait, this can't be true because this man live a bigger lifestyle than this reflect. So you can do that for a number of purposes. Probably what we should insist on is that everybody in certain position should make their income expenditure liability statements public.
It must.
Public.
Must.
So that
when you're serving, it must.
Has a right.
Yes.
To know, to say, well, how come you have $10 billion? Where you earn that from? And you know, for the last 10 years, you were just a little MP.
Yes.
In the last 2 years, you become minister.
Yes.
Explain that. So, and very shortly, when I'm going to do my 2021 statements, I'm going to put it out there. So if a man say, but wait, Paulwell say him own this and that. What about the house up so? How much the value is? You know, that I think is going to help to stem the level of corruption and totally to build back trust. Because no government, this government is a minority government, you know.
It's minority. In some state, hold on, Mr. Paulwell, in some state like Georgia, remember the election the other day?
Yes.
And that guy in the Republican get 49.9% and it have to run over back. And the guy, but the Democrat win after it run over back because the election, anything under 50%, the people them know that null, right now the government are running under like 22%.
21 point
21 point something. Good. You favor government, that's a null. It's unbelievable. You run a company, you have 22% or 21 point something percent, and then you have a farm government and come with a heavy and the tactic. It can't work. You know, when you call back an election, talk to the people them. I want to have to work together. We have to work together like a coalition government. Make farmer coalition, and then it's still low because of 37% vote. 37%. You understand? So, you know, we shouldn't have this heavy and the tactic and all kind of things, and then no infrastructure not fixing up. What's the problem? Our country for run like this.
Right. So we have a serious problem. But we have to find a way to get back the Jamaican people to keep in government. Because without that, people are going to try to beat the system. People are going to continue to lose hope and faith in the country. And you're not going to get a society that is cohesive. You see what is happening now? Nobody no longer take no vaccine.
You never mention it, but we know, yes.
Yes. Because them don't trust the government. Them don't trust the system.
Yes.
If you have a country where 80% of the people participate and trust the government, the response will be different.
I know.
The response will be different. And you get more cooperation for the police to deal with the crime and violence. So there's a fundamental issue of lack of trust, and we need to fix it.
All right. So let me ask you something now. Somebody that asked me for ask, you know, about the ganja industry now. After all, with so much Rasta got through and everything, and now the cannabis licensing thing, the government come up with this thing, and come up with this thing that you're still locking up some people who originally, some of them people go to prison for these things, but now it's in the hands of the rich. Because the liquor farmer can't even afford it. I did think the government it'll come together and say, okay, me come make the farmer them farm, we take it from them, we make the aisle, we sell this, we pay them that, and do something and uplift the country. But no, what you say about this? Because it's wrong, you know. What them doing wrong?
In 2015, I was a part of the government that passed the amendment to the dangerous drugs law.
Yes.
To pretty much decriminalize the use of marijuana. But more importantly, I was the minister, the first minister in the Caribbean to ever plant ganja legally and to issue licenses. Because I was a technology minister, I issued license for the use of ganja for research purposes. And that was 2015, the very first time ever it occurred in Jamaica. I went and planted the first plant at UWI, at UTech, and so on. The aim behind all of this was to say how you can facilitate those people who for many years they were involved in the so-called illegal trade. I mean, all of that I believe was rubbish, you know.
Yes.
Because some of the countries that were imposing these things on us, they were allowing their people.
Yes.
You know, they were allowing their people, and now them have a big industry while we suffer, and the regulations have not been imposed fairly. It has not been thought through as was the intention to allow the little man who used to do him like a thing to bring him into the legal sphere of the thing now, to change up some of the regulations so that the stringency that applies. Because still we have banks now who don't want to deal with people who deal with ganja. And that can't be right.
No.
Ganja represents for us a tremendous asset, a tremendous brand. So even though other people are doing it, they still want the Jamaican ganja. I don't know if it's because of where we're located on the
and the natural sunlight and
right.
everything. Yes.
But there's a brand, the name Jamaica attached to ganja sells, and we are missing an opportunity. We are wasting time, and you need to put less restrictions, make the thing a lot more certain, but allow people to get into the business if they want to legally.
Yeah, and stop waste that police resources right there, because police still go around and lock up some people. If you try to export it illegally now, you can say, okay, we can take action. But in the country, stop do that thing. That are just waste to me. Waste. I'm burning these things, but if you pay the money, them don't burn it. You understand?
Yes.
All right.
But by the way, my brother, you have
yes.
to tell me how much time I have left, because boy, today was a long day. Plus, I want to come back again, you know.
All right, then you have to come back again, because maybe give you next 20 minutes. So maybe just give you next 20 minutes, because a lot of people, you have over 1,400 and odd people live now. Another people are about to listen to you. So over 1,000 people.
You're broad, man. You're broad.
Yes, man. So a lot of people are listening to you and I ask a lot of questions. Me never start asking a question yet.
All right.
Whoa, make us see if I can take out one of them, because a lot of people ask some things. Yes, you did come up with the wind. If I ask about the wind thing there, the wind farm.
Yes.
You come up with that thing, like you did come up with that, right?
Yes.
Okay.
So listen, when I became Minister of Energy in 2002, the cost of electricity was too high. Still too high, but we brought it down. When I became Minister, the cost of electricity was 42 cents per kilowatt hour. We had a problem. Almost all of that energy that we were producing came from imported, was produced, generated by imported oil. So we had to spend foreign exchange, and it was expensive. So I set about trying to find a less expensive way. And we started out by looking at what God has given us. God given us sunshine. So we focus on solar. God gave us the elements like the wind and the rivers. Those are free, cheap. So yes, I established Wigton Wind Farm in 2002, the end, and we did 3 phases of Wigton Wind Farm. But we set up the single largest solar plant in the Caribbean at Content, 20 megawatts. Plus, I granted over somewhere about 400 licenses for individuals who were doing their own thing. So today, you can set up a solar system at your house. In the daytime, when you're generating a wood electricity that can run your refrigerator and do your thing,
yes,
you can also generate more than you need. And the facility that I created
you can sell back.
was to enable you to sell some of that.
Oh, back to the grid.
To JPSCO.
Okay. Yes.
Again, to encourage more and more people to invest in this thing. The government today now, they're not focusing on it that way. Because by now you should have 2,000 people with license and pushing it. Because the sun is free.
Yes.
So yes, you have to buy the equipment, you have to buy the panels, you have to buy the inverter. But in 3 years, you pay back for that.
You pay back for it in 3 years.
And there's no fuel charge. It's a no-brainer. And by now, we should have quadrupled the amount of renewable energy that is on the grid. Today, the price of electricity is going back up. So when we left office in 2016, the price came down to about 24 cents. It's about 30 cents today.
Wow. So tell me something. Why I want to ask you something about bank. I don't want to miss this because I have so much thing I ask you. Back in the 70s, you have banks. When we have Royal Bank, Jamaica, and all of these banks. Banks used to go to school and them open accounts. Why is it today bank closing people bank account when you have less than 5,000, 4,990 $4,990? Them dry it out, close it. I call that highway robbery. And then people can't even open a bank account. People get poorer. What the government, what politicians, them need to come together and do something about this bank thing.
Listen, Jackson 2 years ago, put before Parliament a bill. You know, you don't call it law yet until it is passed. He put forward a bill to address so many of the problems with our banking system, where you put your money in the bank and you go back there and them draw fees out of it. You want to do a check, the amount of money you have to pay to do that check. A whole range of issues. And the government did not allow even a vote on the thing. In fact, they voted for it not to come to the floor of Parliament. So there's today no proper banking law to regulate bank fees, bank standards, bank system, and the Jamaican public should demand. So sometimes, you know, you're a good advocate, but we need to mobilize the public. Because if the public decide that, listen, we're not supporting this bank.
You know, we're going to do that. You know, yes.
You know what I did recently?
Yes.
I buy gas.
Yes.
When I was minister, I put in place a system where you have to post your prices.
Yes.
Right? And if you don't post the prices, we either lock it down or we say to consumers, do not go there. Right? So when I buy my gas these days, you know, me drive around and look because I have power.
Yes.
Sometimes our people don't understand how much power they have. They really have power over politicians, even though that is not exercisable until every 4 or 5 years.
That's it.
But they also...
And them not taking note. I take note, you know. Them not taking note.
You need to mark face. You have to
mark face. We take notes and mark face. So we use by words and everything because computer brain.
I passed a law. I passed a consumer. One of my achievements was the new consumer protection law.
Yes.
As a consumer, if you go out there and a man do some things to you, overcharge you, or them sell bad goods and they don't want to take it back, if they marry goods, you can go to court and get back damages, you know.
Okay.
But we have not found one person in Jamaica who has taken a business to court. But you have the power.
Them have the power. But you see the government must start use the JIS and remind people about that because free to your TV and radio. So you put that on JIS, you know, as an arm of government.
Can I tell you something?
Yes.
More people listen to you.
I know that.
Than JIS.
I know that.
So I'm going to ask you a favor.
Yes.
Like every so often, just remind your audience.
Yes.
Have power. I passed the Fair Competition Act. In that Fair Competition Act, a consumer can go to court and get up to $5 million of damages.
Yes.
For bad treatment.
Yes.
Just remind them that it's not only government alone. They must vote out government, but they must also use the power that I believe both Fair Competition Act and the Consumer Protection Law give them powers that they never had before. Sometimes big companies force you to sign agreement that are unconscionable. But you have to sign it because they're big and you can't go elsewhere. The law allows you to go to court and say, listen, this agreement must be torn up. Tear it up because it is unconscionable. The consumers have that power, you know. But we need to get the word out. And sometimes they don't even want to listen to politicians, but they're listening to you.
Of course, them listen to me. So we're gonna ask you two more things now, right? One of them, some people want to know why the PMP not united, that them have a opposition will speak out for them. Why them not uniting the party? And why they split? What's going on?
From time to time, the PMP, like any other movement, goes through periods of internal strife, quarrels, broke up, and even mash up. And the unfortunate thing is that those days when we were having internal strife because of ideas, because some people believe that we should be capitalists, some people believe that we should be socialists, some people believe that they should be moderate. At least you know that you are committed to some overarching principles. Today, a lot of the internal fights is not about ideas, ideology. A lot of it has to do with personal ambition. And there's nothing wrong with a man want to lead the party. There's nothing wrong with a man wants to become prime minister. And when I say man, I mean woman too. Nothing wrong with that. And there's nothing wrong in competing inside there for the support. But it can't be at the expense of stabbing your colleagues in the back.
And it can't be at the expense of an opposition not pushing out for the people who vote for them. It can't be at the expense. Them have to, you know, because them is here for buffer between what the government doing, and if them do something wrong, them come and speak out and make the people. You know, them are the vice in the parliament for the people.
Right. But you see, opposition, you're not even there yet, because until you come together as a unit and agreeing that, listen, this policy that the government is coming with is nonsense. Let us fight against it. Let us protect the interests of our people. You're not going to get to that point until you unite. And one of the things about Sister P used to go around and kiss up everybody. You couldn't vex with her for a day, because if you know say you're vexed with her, she'll call you, and a meeting will have to take place. And she'll kiss you before the meeting done. But you understand that there is a cause, a bigger cause than your personal situation, your personal ambition, and that cause is what we should unite around. And I think that's a challenge we face. I wish the party leader well, but he has to lead that from the front and to ensure that others follow. I'm disappointed that as chairman of the party, I wasn't able to achieve the unity that I set out to achieve. I believe that people are, a number of persons there are not committed to it. But I am still living in hope. And hopefully, very soon, we can achieve greater unity so that we can fight for the people whose interests we are there to protect.
Because that is the other question. Because the people them suffering, you know. And the people, and next thing we want to ask, right? We know the government gets some money. What them do with that COVID money? Because $10,000 package, the amount of money we see over the time, you know, we should have an opposition speaking out for the people about this money and how it distribute out and everything. You know, 1.5 payment, 10,000 Jamaican, right? But them get a lot of grant all over the world. A lot of grant. Yeah? Come up to billions. But a 10,000 package when everybody I go for this 10,000, and then on the next long time again, them come up. The opposition leaders need to come out. The opposition need to come out and speak about these things, man. It unkind. People can't work, don't have enough food, and it kind of bother me now. This is sometimes they might give some uncaring package. Them call it care package with 2 pound of rice and a 2 sardine and thing. Tell me something. If somebody have high blood pressure and diabetes, and you're not supposed to eat some of these kind of food, and yes, still them come give you these package. What them doing? I better them give people them some cash. Make them buy what they want to buy, whether greens or vegetables, certain things. But don't come with that uncaring package. I call it uncaring package, You understand?
The level of suffering, you see, that we have gone with COVID, the level of unemployment that we're about to face with, the entire destabilization of the economy does require a lot more resources to be put directly in the hands of those who suffer the most. And I agree with you. This government has not recognized the serious plight that people have faced. There are some people in my constituency, a little man with a bar, who would have to close up early, can't go, especially in the early days when you had lockdowns. Those people suffered tremendously, and $10,000 cannot in any way assist them in a meaningful way. The government has to spend some more money, and I hope we won't have to get down into another lockdown period. But the past hurt is sufficient for the government to recognize that more money needs to be put into the system. And I don't have a difficulty with people getting cash directly once it is distributed fairly.
Fairly.
My brother, the voice of God. So tell me now.
All right. You take care next time, We're going to talk.
No, listen. I can come on the program every week,
All right, no problem.
As long as you give me the opportunity to remind the people of the power that them have.
Yeah, well, you're welcome. You're welcome, man.
I would love to take them through, especially those 2 laws that I put, to ensure that they understand what power they have.
Yes.
And mustn't let people joke with them.
Well, you're welcome. A lot of people here listening, over 1,500 people on the live listening right now.
Well, you're bigger than me. You're bigger than my life.
I know, bigger than the live in a parliament, because we see it sometimes with 100 and sometimes 90.
But with respect to you, that you wanted to talk to me about some people in my constituency in relation to some concern they have about the system, the judicial system.
Yes.
The protective system that they have for witnesses and so on, the witness protection program.
Yes.
We'll talk about it next week whenever.
Man, we're going to talk about it next week, definitely. Okay? All right. You take care.
Bye.
All right, bye. Yes, man. All right, people.